Welcome back. Here's episode 3 of One Step at a Time with Charlie Chen. So today's topic is going to be the concept of a good future. And to even get there, I think it's important to lay some groundworks. So one of the goals I want to achieve before I die is I want to be able to talk about philosophy and be able to express logic, fallacies, and perhaps logic, and express them in a way that's comedic and funny, perhaps in the form of jokes. Now, I find them to be really hard to do because I get the concept of the philosophy, but whether it, like a lot of times when I express it, people just say, yeah, that's true, and then that's it, right? Well, then perhaps I didn't approach it from the right angle, or maybe my writing in comedy is not strong enough yet. So that is something of mine that I want to work on. Now, but that doesn't stop me from thinking about things or noticing things, right? And well, recently I thought about this thing where I think it's interesting that good people do good things to feel good, but people don't do bad things to feel bad because, most of the time people do bad things to feel good as well, right? But then on the flip side, I also noticed that people do bad things because they say that someone else would have done it. So, yeah, they decided to become the bad guy first in the fear or using other people as an excuse to justify their actions, right? But then I also find it interesting that people don't help other people because someone else might have helped them, right? I think it's called bystander effect, right? Like, well, why should I help them? Someone else would have helped them, right? And then, of course, sometimes they might even blame the victim. It's like, well, if you're in the situation you're in, well, maybe you're responsible for it, right? But so, which led me to thinking about something like, well, maybe good and evil is not as important. Perhaps people are more concerned about profits and losses, right? Well, because you want to feel good, you don't want to pay out, you all, you know, right? But then if profits and losses are the only thing we care about, then what's the whole like, payment processors uh, that are targeting like companies like Steam and stopping them from, posting not safe for work content, right? So maybe it's not about money, right? Well, then if it is not about money, then I was thinking to myself, what could it be? Well, I texted this to a friend and first he replied cruelty, and then he said cruelty and control. Now, the control part I understand, right? Because what good is taking over land if you don't, or taking over land, resources, positions of power, anything like that, you know, if you don't have control over it, right? Like you don't build an empire with this with like people don't build empires thinking it's okay to lose it once they have built it or achieved it, right? But then but then that's the thing, right? It's like, well, once you achieve a certain level of success and then you exist solely to preserve that success rather than keep on becoming better or providing more value, then existing for the sole purpose of existing, I mean, we have a name for that, and it's called a disease, it's called cancer, right? Existing for the sake of existing. But still, if you try to have a stable society, I mean, some degree of control is required, right? To, you know, defend against random elements or hostile elements. Fine. But what I don't get is why cruelty. I still haven't figured out why cruelty has to be there, right? Because does it necessarily help with control? Maybe, but now I do have a feeling why cruelty is there. I think cruelty is there because it's a way of seemingly providing value without providing value. And what I mean by that is like if logic tracks, right? Like the most the kind of people that provides the most value, helps society the most, should get paid the most, right? That tracks. But if you reach a point where you're just staying because you want to maintain power rather than providing more, at that point, how do you keep on providing value, right? Well, you don't necessarily provide value, but some people actually starts providing negative value. Like you can think about mobs, you can think about gangs, you can think about people who in Chinese is called 使坏, people who's up to no good, right? And and it's similar to like garbage, right? Because garbage is one of those things where you actually pay to get rid of it, right? So by being shitty to people, they're essentially exerting a tax on the people that they interact with. And then instead of providing more value, for the people that they want to quote unquote provide value to, they just stop being mean to them, even though those people didn't necessarily benefit from it. It's just a way to like pay without actually paying, right? And that's, I don't know, it just, you know what it is? It reminds me of like Dave Chappelle used to tell a joke. I think he might still do, but it's a joke about where I think meeting a pimp or something like that, and then Iceberg Slim, and it was talking about the one about mileage on a hoe, and well, the key concept from it was that the pimp would beat up the unfortunate victim and then provide painkillers and a warm towel and a hot bath, and then they would be so thankful that he provided that that the victim forget that the pimp put them in that place, put them in that situation in the first place. In a way, I mean, in a way that's like life nowadays, isn't it? It's like, well, it it it's like playing a game of Monopoly that's already 600 rounds in, and people apparently aren't leaving the table, so you have to sort of exist until you no longer exist. Everything is already owned by someone. Hmm. Anyways, now, while I couldn't explain that, earlier today in the sales department, like day-to-day, like morning huddles, they mentioned the concept of endurance, right? And endurance is good, but a part of me felt really threatened by the word because I guess I used to be hardworking, and but the thing is, my problem with hardworking was that I was working hard, but I wasn't looking. I wasn't actively thinking. I was working hard to ignore the responsibility of having to take control of my life, to be honest. And so I was working hard and I was busy, but I wasn't going anywhere. And of course, and then an opportunity came, I became really excited about working hard on it. I worked hard on it, and then turns out the promises and of rewards just wasn't there. And so I was used and then tossed aside after, displaying displeasure about being used, right? So nowadays, I don't just work hard for no reason. I work hard for a reason, right? Like I need to think about how it's beneficial before I actually work hard now. So the old me died with part of the old me died with that betrayal from back then. I mean, in a way, it forced me to grow, but I don't know if I have grown into a better person, right? Now, that's endurance. So endurance bugs me. And then, of course, I was thinking about it. Eventually, the word perseverance came up to me because I think perseverance suits me better because endurance essentially is saying I'm sticking with this course of action and I'm just going to keep toughing it out until this action works out. Whereas perseverance means I'm going to keep trying until I find an action that works, right? So it's very different because in a rapidly changing world like today, I don't know if endurance is good or if it is dumb. And not to say that endurance is not needed because some things should endure, like morality and things like that, right? But but perseverance, I think, is also very important because things change all the time and you're going to get smacked down over and over again because things don't work or the rules of the game change, but you still have to pick yourself up to keep going, right? So, which I guess pretty much leads to a pretty fun story. When I lived in Bay Area, I used to live with roommates as well as the landlord. And the landlord lady had a dog. The dog's name was Arun. Now, Arun is a little Chihuahua, and Chihuahuas are kind of mean, but they're dogs at the end of the day, so they do like to play and be petted and things like that. And what I found interesting from like interacting with this little Chihuahua is that this little Chihuahua knows very well how to read the room. As in, it knows that it's not supposed to get on the table. It knows that it's not supposed to be mean to people when the owner is around, but it also plays to it, right? Like whenever the owner steps aside, it might sneak food from people. Like the dog identifies who's the weak link of the table so that it can get food. And if there's not enough people around, sometimes it jumps on the table and start eating food on the table. Poorly trained, maybe, but the dog got its way, right? There's no honor per se, it's just about getting what it thinks belongs to it, right? And so a part of me was inspired but annoyed by this little chihuahua because, well, well, because if a dog can do it, what does that say about me? Am I a loser if I've because I have like I follow rules or something like that? And so that part really bugged me. And perhaps and so which brings us back to like what I wanted to talk about. What is a good future, right? Well, you can't have a good future if you just want it, right? I think good future is good days today, tomorrow, the day after, things like that. In the role, you pretty much live it one day at a time. And then when you look back, you're like, oh, I did good for this period of amount of time, right? But in the present, looking into the future, you can't really promise yourself good future. You sort of have to just do it one day at a time. And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that endurance is bad, but because it happens minute by minute, day by day, hour by hour. It's perseverance over and over again. Like, yeah, I mean, you just don't know. There's no, like, like in gambling, there's this thing called, I don't know if it is called gambler's fallacy or sunk cost fallacy, where they lose many times in a row, and then they're gonna say, "Hey, I'm the next one to win," right? Well, like the next hand I'm gonna win, I'm sure of it, right? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Just because you're doing good, it doesn't guarantee that tomorrow is gonna be good, but just because you're doing bad, it doesn't guarantee tomorrow is gonna be bad. So you sort of just have to keep going day by day, as am I, right? So, good news. I think I'm pretty sure I passed the second round of interview today. Um, it's within my expertise, like things that I know about. And I'm both happy but also scared. I'm not scared of stability, I'm not scared of success, that's not it. I'm more concerned about the nature of things, right? Because at the end of the day, IT is a back end of an organization. Like I make sure that things run, but I myself don't generate revenue, right? So when push comes to shove, whether it's AI or replacing me with some guy in India or something like that, I mean, if they have to do it, they have to do it, right? Whereas if they have to remove someone who's giving them revenue, right? So a part of me don't feel comfortable about going back to the world that I know, even though I know it, right? Supposedly it's supposed to bring me comfort. It doesn't, because I sort of know where it leads. I know it's valuable, but I don't know if it is sustainable. And had I followed the old philosophy of working hard, in Chinese it's called eating bitterness, 吃苦, I don't think I'm gonna last till passing away at an old age, because the world is moving in such a way where it's as uncomfortable as it is, it's becoming, and as cruel as it is, as violent as it is, and as unfair as it is, it's being really truthful. The barrier between society and all out competition, that raw survival of the fittest, it feels closer than ever before. Now that I think about it, it's making me feeling a little bit excited. But I'm alive, that kind of feeling. But it's terrible though. Like I guess I can only joke about it because, I'm making some headways. But I remember when I first got laid off, how devastating it was. Because my ability to make money, my ability to help people at a job, day in and day out, it essentially became my identity. And what am I without my job, right? And of course, you could say that I'm still, an offspring of my parents or things like that. But how much time do I spend with them really? I wish I'm a better descendant, but I'm not. So I really don't know. But anyway, if everything goes according to plan, I should be no longer be jobless by, I don't know, sometime next week. It's gonna be face to face, but it pays well. But I think I'm not gonna give up my progress in real estate. I still want to do comedy and I still want to do real estate. Not because I'm greedy, but I don't feel safe working, and it's not even the company's fault. It's just the trend of where humanity is marching. I have to keep going. And it's not gonna be endurance, it's gonna be perseverance. Because enduring on a sinking ship is gonna be dumb. Anyway, well, I think that about does it. Um, yeah, things are going better. Of course, uh, every Monday night you can find me at Coldtowne signups, and you can also find me at Shakespeare's doing the DJ booth after the show. Tuesday you can find me at Tiniest bar at the open mic there at 8 p.m. And then if you do well, Friday we have a show at Coldtowne Theater, and you can get booked if you do good back in Tuesday. And of course, with real estate, you can find me at 737-215-3535. And as for IT, I mean, IT is IT, man. But it's so weird, isn't it? It's like, I know it's not a useless skill, yet, because even if it is a useless skill, not enough time has passed to justify how quickly it become useless. I guess that's the thing in my head that I've been thinking about. And it's like I said in last video or the video before about AI, is just, I don't think it's AI. I just think whoever signs the paycheck just wants to be cruel with it. Nothing more, nothing less. I remember someone said something like, there's not enough paying in the market. Some dude from Australia. There's not enough paying in the market, then what? So you can bargain them better? Bargain against them better? Like, what is it? You can get more work out of people for less? I guess in conclusion, I remember this quote from somewhere. It's something like this. It's important to raise the bar, and it's important to meet the bar. And instead of lowering the bar so more people can reach it, we should help each other to reach the bar. I think that's a good sentiment. So yeah, until next time. See you.